Hello, guys. Welcome to the Empowered Hearts podcast. Today, we're going to be interviewing Krystle. We have not had a chance yet to hear Krystle's story, and we are sitting here giving you guys advice. And we thought it would be, maybe proper to share why you guys should be listening to us. And
Mm.
Krystle's story is really empowering. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Mm.
So, how are you today? Like, what have you been up to?
I'm feeling really good today, which is great because I've noticed the last couple days I had not been feeling great. So I've been very intentional about self-care and I'm feeling like balanced. Yeah.
We're really, into self-care. Have you
Mhm.
always been, has this always been how you are?
No. Um, nope. This has been a project for me
Really?
too. Yeah, lately. Or, like a little more than lately. But no, I haven't always been this way.
Okay, so what do you mean?
Um, there's one day that always stands out that was like, when you have like a little moment of like, oh, like clarity. This was a moment of clarity for me. My brother and I used to get together like once a week and we would have some wine and visit. And I remember just leaning into him and telling him I'd been feeling, kind of depressed and down. And he asked me he asked me, what is one thing that you do just for you that you love? And I couldn't answer him. It was like, and it made me really sad. I was a mom and a wife, and I worked in the office for our logging company, and I just kind of forgot about me.
Right.
It just kind of like slowly happened. And so that's when I started Self Love Sundays,
Oh,
was to,
wow.
yeah, to like dedicate. If it was going to be a minimum, there would be one day a week where I made darn sure that I did one thing just for me.
The journey of self-love is such a weird one, right? I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we're pushed into it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
unless we grew up understanding self-love and self-care at the level of like that we practice now, it's just not normal, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
it's just like, oh, we have to do this and do that and pay the bills and all this stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
yes, these things are very important, but we learn that that's the only thing that's important, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
it takes like a mental breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
or you telling your
Yep.
brother that you're feeling depressed, which in my opinion is a mental breakdown, because I don't feel like
Yeah.
living in depression it's normal, but it's not healthy, and we don't have
Yep.
to live that way, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So it's crazy how it takes like such a catastrophic event, or
Yeah.
just feeling like not great all the time, for us to recognize that self-love is something that's really important.
Yep.
um and so when you created self-love Sundays, like, have you, like, how long ago was this?
Probably like maybe like 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe even longer. Yeah.
So, if you guys don't know, so Krystle is an energy healer. And if you guys
Mm-hmm.
don't know what that means basically Krystle can go into your energy. She doesn't have to be with you. She can be with you. It's similar to Reiki, but it's not Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for you to talk about this, but I'll just give them a gist. Like, she can
Yeah.
find leaks and tears in your energy field, or if your chakras are blocked or they're not
Mm-hmm.
going the right way, she can help with that and realign you. Krystle also has this natural skill. So when she mentors women, she's able to help them come back to their heart. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the other day I was filling out insurance forms, and there was literally a thing on my insurance form that said
Yeah.
heart wisdom. Like, are you a heart wisdom?
Yeah.
So Krystle definitely is that, even though that's
Yeah.
not her trademark name. She just has this gift.
Mm.
So energy healer,
Thank you.
heart healer, um, how else would you describe, your business?
I feel like that's, yeah. So, I think basically what I do is help heal the body, the mind, and the soul.
Okay.
Um, Helping women, love who they are
Wow.
fully.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a big one. I don't know. Cultivating like a life of dreams and understanding that you create your life and we manifest. That's who we are
Mhm.
on this planet, is we are all creators. And so I really help spark that back into people's belief system so that they understand that, at any point in time you can change your life. It doesn't have to be one certain way, and it's a limitless possibility. So
So how did you, like, have you always been like this, or how did you end up in a place where you're helping women and bringing them back to their heart? Like, how did this unfold for you?
I think it's because I spent most of my life so disconnected from myself. You know, as young as I remember, I always observed other people and I just never felt like I quite fit in.
Mhm.
It was like I didn't know where I fit because I didn't want to play with the kids, but the adults were like too serious. So it was like, what was the in between kind of stage? So I think it was really about hating myself for so long and like trying to change who I was so that people would love me. And yeah, it was walking through just a whole lot of hell and being like, okay, like we need to have our own back here.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Like, uh,
Yeah.
what would have been, I know you asked me this question, I'm going to ask it to
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
what was like a pivotal moment in your life when you were like, okay, I need to have my own back? Like, what would have been
Yeah.
that triggered that for you?
I think it started, like the journey began when I was 12. I had my first relationship, if you want to call it that, at 12.
Okay.
And I was like, I feel like when I remember this, I was like still playing with dolls at 12. And this guy took a liking to me or whatever. And so we started dating, and I lost my virginity at 12 years old, like not wanting to. It wasn't something that I ever thought about. I was like not even there. And I learned from that, oh, like for you to love me, this is what we do. Right. And he ended up cheating on me. And so then it becomes, well, you're just not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not enough for him to love you. He's going to go somewhere else. And that relationship stemmed into my next one where I was like dating the guy of the town. Like everyone wanted him. And that relationship was 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But about 9 months into it, he started to become like physically abusive. And it was really hard because I was like so in love with him. At least I thought I was, and I think I was. That he would apologize, and I would smooth it over, and it was a very hard period of my life. Still feeling like I just wasn't enough. You know, it was like it doesn't matter how you dress. Like he said to me, um he wanted to see my report card, and I got like straight A's. I was really smart in school.
Your
And
boyfriend did?
pardon?
Boyfriend did?
He wanted to see my report card. Yeah. He wanted to see it. And so I told him no, because he told me that if I got on the honor roll, he was breaking up with me because he wasn't going to date a nerd. And
Wow.
so he yeah, he picked me up from the school that day, and I wouldn't give him my report card, and so he proceeded to like beat me up in the field. Yeah. And yeah, so there was like moments like that where I was like, and I never ever like realized, because I was like, well, I love him though, you know? And
Right.
so then I was still seeing him when I started dating Brady, which is the kid's dad.
Mhm.
And so one relationship just overlapped and rolled into another. And it was in my marriage when it was like endless empty promises. And it was like, no matter how hard I tried to shift myself, there was like a lack of respect, a lack of trust, a lack of um, just feeling that safety connection, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that it took me one night when he really crossed the line with me and was really disrespectful and in front of, you know, our daughter, that was the night that I like prayed to God, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. You know, I can't be with a man figure that does not love and respect who I was. And that was the moment when I knew all of that had to do with me, you know, like owning who I was and that I was worth more than this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because that's, I'm doing my best not to cry, but
Mm.
because we understand the work, and when I say the
Mhm.
work, I mean like doing the work on yourself, um, shadow work. If people don't know what shadow work is, it's like looking at all of the nitty-gritty things that live under the carpet that we
Mhm.
have and we don't often want to look at because they're hard. So they can be
Yep.
like just are not our greatest traits, or like, that thing we do and we don't really like. And it's just like, okay, let's shine light on this and give
Mhm.
ourselves acceptance. So because you've done all the work, I know you've done all the shadow work, you've done all the healing
Mhm.
work, like looking back, what do you think about you
Mhm.
was it that you were attracting these men? Because it is, I mean, life is a mirror, right?
Yep. It was a lack of self-respect. It was a lack of self-worth, a lack of self-love,
Mhm.
not ever being taught to, you know, stand up for myself, or like be able to have boundaries and, you know, say no to people.
Mhm.
I think that um if you can teach your kids, you know, like how to respect themselves in a healthy way, I think that it was just, I wanted so badly to be fully loved and seen and understood, and um, feel like that belonging, that I would do anything for anyone,
Mm.
you know? Yeah.
Resonate with this. This is making me emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I resonate with this very, very deeply. So how did you become who you are today? Like what changed? Like how did you just say, okay, I'm done. Like I'm done with not being feeling like I'm enough. Like what changed for you?
It
Was it
was
that moment with
it
Brittany
was it
or
yeah, it was that moment. And I think the biggest reason was that Bella witnessed it.
right, right. Oh,
And I it's kind of like you see an entire flashback of your life, and I look at Bella at, you know, age 12, and I think to myself, like, if any guy was to touch her, you know what I mean? Like, no,
right.
this is not how it's gonna go. Like, she needs to learn um that you don't tolerate it.
Mhm.
It's not okay. And it really woke me up. Like, it was like an earth-shattering moment. Kind of came full circle, and yeah.
Wow. So you left your marriage and
Yep.
you entered then a healing journey. Can you go into a little bit about your healing journey? Like, because that's
Yep.
go from that to who you are now,
Yeah.
like we were speaking earlier, like, um, you do look on the outside like you have the most perfect life. You
Hmm.
are, and you do. And you come off so bright and cheery and so happy and so
Mm.
positive. And it's like, how do we go from like those are two major extremes, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So, yeah, what did
Um,
your healing journey look like?
so it started that night, when I prayed in the bathtub. I had already been working on myself prior to that. Like I read lots of self-help books. So like the self-awareness was always really big. But I needed that moment to see life in a different lens. And when I did, it became about, the awakening. And I quit drinking alcohol. I started religiously meditating. This is when I started connecting like with the earth, um, grounding, and it kind of like unfolded for me. It wasn't even like I was searching for it, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
It was like just maybe like the reels that I was seeing on Instagram, or like I had this friend tell me to buy this book, The Greatest Secret, and that book changed the way that I looked at life completely. And I feel like I was still in my marriage when that started. And the more that I evolved myself, the more disconnected I felt in my marriage.
Right.
So it was like 7 months later that I decided that I was done.
And so do you find that you help people that have similar problems now?
I definitely, yes, I do. A lot of the women that I work with, have suffered, you know, some form of trauma, I would say, or just really don't love themselves at all,
Yeah.
and it's like they are giving way too much to other people, or they're like hyper fixated on control and there's like no wiggle room. It's like they are so stuck in reality that they can't see beyond it. So
Right.
those are kind of the people that I work with mostly.
Okay. So
Yeah.
who was Krystle before? Like, because, like I said,
Yeah.
now are,
Okay.
and like, who can you paint us a picture? Because I cannot even imagine.
Yeah, this okay. You're gonna be like, what? So I was like very physically sick for a long time. Um, and I was like ridiculous at controlling every single thing. What I ate, what time I ate, how many hours I slept, like it was like everything was so scheduled and just like planned, just planned out all the time.
Mhm.
And if anything got thrown off at all, I would spiral. It was like I felt like my life was falling apart if that happened. I drank a lot of wine.
Mhm.
I honestly wouldn't say that I was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Um, yeah, no, I wasn't an alcoholic, but I would definitely like to have a glass, not every day, but it would be something that like I would look forward to because I wanted to take the edge off. So there was a lot of that going on. Um, I was riddled with anxiety, depression. Yeah.
So where do you think you learned all this? Like, how did you become to be that person?
I honestly think it's just written in my path. It was like I needed to walk through all of that hard in order to choose myself.
Mhm.
And I always like had this knowing that there was something better, It was, and not that like I wasn't happy in my life, because at the time I would say I had everything that I ever wanted.
Mhm.
I had what people would call the $1 million family. And from the outside looking in, it was perfect. But from the inside, it was like so far from perfect.
Wow. So how did you, because I know you've helped me with this, and so I laugh,
Mm-hmm.
but how did you learn to release control?
Mm. When I, after I read the book, The Greatest Secret, I realized that life isn't as serious as we make it,
Hmm.
that we create our own limitations. It's like we we literally limit ourselves all the time and we don't even realize that we're doing it. And it became an awareness that my mind, that I would just allow to run on autopilot like most people do, actually could be controlled. And I could choose how I wanted to feel. And it became like this project. It was like the self-awareness to like understand um what was going on in my mind. And I there was like 6 months when I did not scroll social media. I did not watch TV, nothing. I just literally was present and I would just sit in stillness.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just recalling all this. That was, yeah, it was like I just shut everything out so that I could listen here and like really understand who I was and get to know who I was and like what I was taught in the past. And, is it serving me?
Wow.
Is this truth?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was basically just like it was your search for the knowing that there is something better, and then the search to find what that better is.
Yeah. And I think that I landed on peace.
Peace. Can you go into that a bit more?
Yeah. Peace is like satisfaction with, you know, where no matter where you are in life, you can choose to feel that feeling.
Hmm.
No matter what is going on outside you, it was like you can choose to cultivate the feeling of peace. And that was my saving grace. That is what I learned when I was still in my marriage after I made the decision, like, I am not doing this anymore. That is what carried me through the next 7 months was that inner peace. And I remember having conversations with friends that were going through, hard times in their relationship. And they're like, how are you so happy? And I was like, well, I kind of just disconnected myself from like attachment and realized that I do have control over how I want to feel. And I do have control over who I choose to put myself around and, what I choose to engage in. And that's when I quit drinking alcohol and just really started to like nourish my body and be really intentional.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So if you had any advice to give somebody who was like, let's say, in like over controlling their environment, giving their power away to their external environment, like how would you guide them back to their heart, and like what would be something you could say to them?
I think it starts with remembering that you're never stuck and you always get to choose.
Hmm.
Your reality does not dictate, like your ability to feel better,
Mm.
because like if you're having internal turmoil
Yep.
and you change your external reality, you're still that person. You're still bringing it with you. So it's like cultivating remembering that you have a choice, choosing to get to know who you are on a deeper level, like what makes you get out of bed every day, you know like
Mhm.
what are you living for, that is not in your external reality, that's not your job, that's not your kids, that's not your husband, that's not your pets, like you
Yeah.
as an individual, because those are just titles, like those are just, again, like that's an external thing. um the more you cultivate inner balance, the more your external world will reflect more balance.
So how do we cultivate inner balance?
I really believe that it comes down to listening.
Yeah.
Listening, um, to your needs, what it is that your human needs,
Mhm.
um, calming the mind through meditation, through practicing presence, uh, self-awareness is huge. And like shutting out the outside noise and really just like bringing yourself back to, okay, where am I right now in this moment? Like, am I actually here? Or
Mhm.
am I thinking, you know, about the past? It's very complex.
I think the journey of healing or self-love or both of them, it really is. It's like self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that is where it starts. It starts prior to that. Well, it starts with something terrible mostly. It's
Usually.
got to be like initiated into it for the most part. And then it's self-awareness. And then with the awareness builds understanding and acceptance. And
Mm-hmm.
then with that builds like, oh, like I'm needing more self-respect here. And then, oh, now
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of this. And it's just like, it kind of just builds, you know?
Yep.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the initial awareness of like, this isn't working for me is what is sometimes, yeah, we have to be initiated into it. And
I think the question that you're gonna first ask yourself is, why does this keep happening to me? Isn't that the famous question?
yep. And it's like, what, what's wrong with me? But we say that, but we don't actually mean that. We are saying that from a victim standpoint rather than
Yeah.
like, okay, how can I take ownership of what's going on? Because that should be the question. But you're
You
right.
know, it's interesting though, because like I would have, when I was in any relationship, I would have said, like, why is this happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? Like I'm a kind, loving, trustworthy person and I keep getting shit on. Why does this keep happening to me? And it's like it's happening for you
Yeah.
so that you can grow a backbone and you can, put a boundary down and realize that this is not for you. This,
Mhm.
there's more to this. Yeah.
I find people just, they stay like, and I mean, out of the
Mm-hmm.
love they have for their kids or their partner or whatever. And it's like, that's beautiful, but not if it's killing you, right?
No,
And our
no.
society doesn't really build that up. It's like, but like
Mm-hmm.
the kids and the husband and the family, and it's like you're gonna break up the family. And yes, but it's not, it's like choosing yourself. That is an act of love. It's a major act of love. And like you said, you get to share that with your kids and you get to, and now teach your kids like what is for them and what's not for them. And you help them learn what not to put up with. And so
Yeah.
like a pillar of empowerment for
Mm-hmm.
them. And that's beautiful because that just breeds more respect, right?
It's a very controversial when it comes to marriage because some people believe that you should stay together for the kids. And and I can't speak for everyone, but I personally know that when a marriage becomes quite toxic and there's so much back and forth and negativity and um I wouldn't say hate because it's not hate, but it's like resentment for each other
Yeah.
that you are literally like not serving anyone in that situation.
Yeah.
So,
So what does your life look like now?
my life now, I have my own business, which is which has been like one of the most beautiful things I've ever cultivated.
Mhm.
I live a life of like full health and vitality. I feel like I never ever get sick.
Mhm.
Um, I practice self care and self love religiously. I'm raising two very busy, active teenagers. And yeah,
So, what is it like being a single mom? Like, how does
Mm,
that work? I'm sure there's people listening that are like, yeah,
yeah.
okay, that sounds wonderful. But you are a single mom and
Hmm.
don't really have help. So,
No.
how does somebody, practice all the self-love, have their own business and raise two teenagers? Like, how does that work out?
It's a constant practice. Um, One that I would say is very challenging to cultivate because if we do not make ourselves a priority, we will always put ourselves to the last
Hmm.
every single time. So I feel like I try not to put out any expectations, only intentions for certain things. So, like, for example, I have hard boundaries that are a must for me, like having a strong morning practice. Nature is huge. It's like every day that needs to happen. And in the evening, I get my own time. Those three things, I'm trying to incorporate working out, but that just keeps going up and down. It's all over the place. But you really, really have to make yourself a priority because it is so easy to get caught up in your business, in the daily. The work is always there. The chores, the laundry, the grocery shopping, the running the kids everywhere, the cooking, all the things are, it's always there.
Hmm.
So sometimes it means letting things fall. Like maybe you're having pancakes for supper, or ordering takeout so that you can just take a beat and breathe.
I love that. So looking after yourself, like it hasn't stopped, and that's beautiful. I mean, I know you've
Yeah.
helped me personally. You're just really good at reminding people like of their worth. And
Mm-hmm.
and I know that you've done that for yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
what is one thing that you haven't that you want to share that like is just random that you'd want people to know about you, good or bad?
Hmm.
What's like a crystal, like it's not a secret, but just like I don't know, a good piece of advice or like just in general.
Hmm. That's a great question. What is one thing that I would share with the world? Sometimes I question my own desires.
Okay, what do you mean?
Okay. So I am very like dream big, like no matter what it is meant for you. And sometimes I go really, really big. And then I'm like, you know, can this happen? Can this actually happen? And then the universe just shows me that it can. I just get like 852 signs that yes, you're on the right path.
Mhm.
So sometimes I get a little bit like, ooh, that was a really big dream. I don't know if that's what you were looking
Yeah,
for, but
yeah. I don't know what I was looking for. I was just
I
asking.
love to paint. Painting is amazing. I'm very creative,
Okay.
very creative, like very good at drawing, painting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, this you have the floor. Like anything else? Maybe this will be like your dating app.
Um, I know how to knit and crochet.
Okay.
That's not really a dating app thing. Let's delete that. Um, I
You-
would really love to learn like how to horseback ride and play the guitar. I have a guitar in my room that I'm like, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna play this, but it's just like self-care. Like if you don't make yourself do it, you're not gonna do it. And it just like it's collecting dust.
Well, I'm coming to visit you, and so we're gonna sit
Yeah.
down with the guitar. Because like when you
Okay.
do it
Yeah.
once, then like I have no desire to play the guitar, but I have a
Yeah.
desire to help you play the guitar. So I can't even say
That
this.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Yes, I need a motivational buddy.
Yeah.
Even though Caden plays the guitar, and he's told me like a million times, he's like, "Mom, you need to pull your guitar out," and then I just don't.
Wow. Okay, so what does it mean to you to have an empowered heart?
Never giving up on what you want. I feel like if you desire a certain thing,
Mhm.
it is meant for you, it is coming, but just never give up on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am going to second that. You know,
Yeah.
I am definitely in my own, like my business is like
Mhm.
taking a new stance today. I'm
Yeah.
accepting clients for hypnosis today and
July 4th.
July 4th, just don't give up. Like, don't give up. Because,
No.
like you said, what's meant for you, if you desire it, then it's for you. It's just,
Yeah.
I think we have this thing about manifesting where we think, oh, like I thought about it. Why isn't it here?
Yeah.
Yes, and not always. Like,
Mhm.
yes, if we think about something, it is meant for us, but often it can take legwork. Like, if
Mhm.
I want a business, it doesn't mean it's just going to plop on my lap. But I had all
Mhm.
the tools and skills to build the business and to help clients. Like I did have those. So that was given to me. Like that
Yeah.
wisdom, everything I've learned was given to me, right? Um, but we do have to do like, insurance forms aren't going to get sent themselves. Like we get mixed up sometimes
Yeah.
about investing. We think, well, it is here though. There's just some things in the 3D we have to do. So
Yeah.
just hold your vision and then
Yeah.
remember there are just a few things, just keep going in the motion of whatever it is.
Yeah, you'll never be able to see the path, but it's not our job. And people get tripped up by that. Like it's like they feel so lost that, well, I don't know what's next. And it's like what's next will come to you. You will get the idea. You will hear something that'll be like, oh, like that sparks something within me. Like the steps align for you, but you do have to take the steps.
You just have to take any steps. It's
Yeah.
like, and then you take a step, oh, it wasn't the right step. You'll be, guided elsewhere. Like you
Yeah.
will know. The universe doesn't make mistakes. Like here's
Never.
another really good piece of advice. The
Yeah.
universe does not make mistakes. Even if something looks so shitty from the outside or like in your life, it is on purpose. It's just you need to see the perspective.
Yeah.
Your perspective. Like if you're like, oh my God, this is so shitty, change your perspective. Then it's not.
Exactly. That's I you know what that's such a good piece of advice. Is the glass half full or half empty?
That's literally it.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
this stuff is not new, right? Like the
No.
glass half full and half empty has been how going on forever. Like my grandpa used to tell me that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like we are so stunned when we realize the glass is half full. It really is. Like we all live our lives
Yeah.
with the glass half empty forever. It seems like
Yeah.
we just unconsciously live that way. And then one day we're like, oh, I've had an epiphany. The glass
Yeah.
is only half full. Like,
It's
what?
literally, it's like overnight, nothing's changed, and you're like, my glass is half full.
It's just like I have entered a new reality. And that's like
Yeah.
what it when people are like, well, your life is so different, I'm gonna say, because I looked at the glass half full.
Yep. There's always something to be grateful for. That is okay. I am a gratitude queen. I feel like that is the one practice that you should always lean into. What are you grateful for? And like you can look around your room and count objects if you want to, you know?
This morning I woke up and I just was like, because I'm now obsessed with the subconscious mind. So I know that in the morning we're in the theta state. And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to use that moment to manifest. And so waking up to the emotion that you want to be in for the rest of the day or
Yes.
more of, I was like, I am grateful for my heartbeat, for my breath, for the bed that I'm lying in, for my clean sheets, like Gracie, like everything. You can go on and
Mm-hmm.
on and on and on.
Yep.
You literally could go on forever. Like it could be or it could be like hours of I'm grateful for. And some
Yeah.
people are like, I have nothing. And it's just like, no, you're looking at life at it half
Yeah.
full.
Exactly. Like, what are you waiting for to change so that you finally feel grateful? Because if we're constantly waiting for something, We're never going to get there.
But I feel like it's hard when you don't understand this perspective. You don't
Yes.
get it, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you have to be jarred into seeing things half full, or at least be given
Yep.
the opportunity, because it's just
Mhm.
for some reason it's just we get used to things and we're like, well, whatever, it's just a couch, or it's just this, or it's just that. Just
It's
no,
true.
it has to be like, it's a beautiful couch and it holds my body and I love it, and like
Yeah.
make it such a big deal, because the more you make a big deal out of things that for quote unquote don't matter, you will be able to see the beauty in things that, how can I say this? You're able to see the beauty in everything, which then creates opportunity.
It's so true because if you took that couch out of your living room and you tried to watch TV, you're
Yeah.
going to be grateful for the couch,
Yeah. So it's
you
like,
know?
does it not matter? No, it really matters. We just sit on it all the time and we don't realize that it matters. But it's like,
Yeah.
I'm so damn grateful you're here. This is amazing. Thank you for holding my body up.
Yeah.
And then, holding that frequency. And the next thing you know, it's like you found money or something random, or like something random just happens.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's because when you're on the frequency of gratitude,
Yep.
more things come into your life to be grateful for. It's just simple,
Hmm.
like attracts like. Like it's not,
Hmm.
it's just be what you want to see more of.
Yep. Amen. That is absolutely it. You should put that on your shirt.
I will.
I love it.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to share?
No,
No.
this was great. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing, being open
Yeah.
so much.
I love you.